Yo, what up, everybody? My name is Drake Demore from the Win City Sports Podcast, and this episode of Cedric Ben's Combat Quarter is brought to you by the Win City Sports Podcast. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere podcasts are found, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or directly on wincitysports.com. Smell you later.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Cedric's Combat Corner number 21. I am your host, Cedric Ben. Today on the Triple C's podcast, I'll be briefly going over the YouTube belt for the YouTube champion between KSI and Logan Paul. First of all, let me give much respect to these guys for turning their random YouTube popularity into a multi-million-dollar boxing event 2 times, not just once. It wasn't just a fluke the first time. They did this 2 times. So let me start off the bat by saying that much respect for these guys for putting more eyeballs on the sport of boxing. Anything that attracts more attention to the sport, you know, I'm all with it, as long as it's positive. So financially, they both made $900,000 for this fight. $900,000 for 2 guys that have had 1 amateur fight, and that last rematch was their professional debut, and they made almost $1 million. Man, these guys are some smart business kids. Yeah. Now, as far as the fight goes, it was only 6 rounds too. These guys, they made all that money just for a 6-round fight. Anyways, I gave KSI the first 3 rounds. He definitely looked like the more aggressive guy. Logan Paul looked, he had a good boxing stance, but he just wasn't aggressive enough. He had a good jab, hit his hands a little bit too low. KSI was throwing, he was just more aggressive. KSI wasn't more accurate, he was just more aggressive. That he was throwing a nice jab and then a big looping overhand right. Looked like it would hit the side of Logan Paul's head, the side or the back. So I gave KSI the first 3, not because he was technically better, just because he was, Logan Paul wasn't really doing nothing. And, it's not necessarily the fact that you win the round just because you're more aggressive, because another person that your opponent could also win the round just because he's landing more. He might not throw as much as you, but if he's landing more, then he can still run around. So I gave it the first 3 to KSI, not just because he was aggressive, but yeah, for that reason, he was more and more effective. The last 2 I gave to Logan Paul. What changed things around was that uppercut, that beautiful uppercut that Logan Paul landed on KSI. That changed the game right there. KSI did not look the same after that. Logan should have took more advantage of that situation. He should have took a lot more advantage of that situation. I'm not sure if it was a combination of him being tired or just nervous or just unsure of himself. You know, it doesn't matter how much you train. It doesn't matter how much you train, how much cardio you do, how much, whoever you work with. I heard KSI was working with Jeff Mayweather. Shannon Briggs was in Logan Paul's corner. That was his main coach. That's all good. I'm sure they improved. They actually did look better than they did in the first fight. So that working with these pros did help. But as far as getting tired, there's nothing that you can could simulate during training that simulates the atmosphere, the whole stadium full of people screaming out loud. People on TV watching. That pressure, that's a different type of pressure. And that pressure, just the adrenaline dump that comes from that is what makes a fighter tired sometimes. So in that 4th or 5th round, when both guys were tired, KSI looked a little bit more tired. Obviously, it had something to do with that uppercut that he took. But he survived the last 3 rounds. It was kind of tossed. I didn't exactly score the fight. Just didn't take this fight that serious to score it. But just by looking at it, the last 3 rounds could have went either way, except for the last round. The last round was definitely Logan Paul's round, and few controversy. I mean, again, it was a close fight. It wasn't a blowout. I say KSI still won. I agree with the decision, but I don't think it was a blowout. I heard a lot of people who think that Logan Paul could have won. It was close. I just thought KSI did a little bit more. So, yeah. These guys are something else, man. They were able to get the whole boxing world to pay attention to their professional debut. So yeah, much respect for them for bringing more eyes to the sport of boxing. Now, usually I give a little breakdown of what I believe each boxer can do to improve in their next match. But I don't think these guys are going to have a next match unless, they've done good this far. I think one guy has like 50 million followers. KSI has like 50 million followers. The other guy has like 10 or something like that. So I guess if they really want to do it again, first match was a tie. It was a draw. Second match, KSI won. So I guess Logan Paul could kind of market it as his last shot at revenge. So with KSI, practicing throwing that right hand from different angles, not just one big looping. That was the only one that he threw. You can make it straight. You can make it a small hook to the side. You can make it an overhand. You can step in with an uppercut. So try practicing throwing that right hand from different angles, of course, starting with the jab. But if you're fast enough, you can just whip that right hand right off the bat. And of course, just with running and sparring, that your cardio will improve just by you being able to relax in the ring will improve your cardio. That is for KSI. For Mr. Logan Paul, he was actually boxing good. He just didn't do enough, so he needs to just be a little bit more aggressive, throw a little bit more punches. Now, he was training. His coach was Shannon Briggs, who was a heavyweight. Heavyweights aren't really known to throw lots of punches. So I don't know if that was a factor in him not throwing that much, but if he's gonna have a rematch with KSI, you got to be a lot more busier because he had the right stance. He was blocking and slipping good, even though his hands were a little bit too low for my liking. He still did good, so I don't know. Just keep them hands up and throw a little bit more, and he might be able to pull out the third fight if they do have one. I mean, I never even heard of them the first time they had the first one, so I wouldn't put it past them to generate enough interest to have a third match, as long as they make the money. Yeah. All right, man. There you have it. I'm not gonna spend too much more time on these guys. Again, much respect for these two random YouTube kids turning their YouTube popularity into, like I said, a multi-million-dollar boxing event 2 times over. There you have it. Saturday's Combat Sports number 21. I will be back soon. Please send me any suggestions, anything you want me to talk about specifically on the show. All social media at Cedric Sports. Yeah. Shout out to Win City Sports.